How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Pritchard Pub. This evening, we got special guest Lolo Art. How's it going, buddy?
How you doing? Lolo's art. It's
Lolo's.
supposed to be an
Lolo's.
apostrophe in there, but it's just I'm Lolo and it's my art, so it's Lolo's art.
Lolo's Art. Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Sorry about that.
No.
But yeah, you're an artist and a writer, general creative in many different facets. But why don't you go ahead for those listening, let them know who you are and what you do.
I'm Lolo's art. Well, I'm Lolo, and
Mhm.
I've been doing art commercially for 20 years, and I'm from New York City. And right now, what I have going on is uh, putting together a book that's a a collection of 20 years worth of my work into 100 page book. There's It's mostly art. It's like 150 or 160 images in there, but there's a written component to it as well where I share some insights about my thoughts on storytelling and designing, and just I tell stories about things that I've gone through as an artist, and also just some thoughts on culture and life in general. So it's about 5,000 words that I put there. So it's kind of sprinkled throughout around the artwork, and I think it helps give some dimension to some of the art that you'll see across along the pages.
Yeah, it sounds like an amazing little project you got going there. I think more artists should do that. And we were recently on a stream together, I think over on John Douglas's channel. Shout out to
Right.
John Douglas. Yeah, I believe that's when I first got wind of it. I didn't even know you had a project going, otherwise I would have had you on sooner, to be
Right.
quite honest.
I'm not good at promoting myself. I'm kind of I don't I find it hard how so many people are so active on social media. I'm like, how do you have so many things to say? I don't feel comfortable saying something unless it's like a very sincere thought that I really want to share. So it's like sometimes I go weeks without posting anything, and I have to like force myself to think of something to say. So I
Right.
hadn't promoted myself sufficiently, and not even with this campaign. But
I feel that pain. I'm lucky with mine. It's ongoing, so I can kind of be a little bit more lax with it. But like, yeah, it does need to get done at some point, you know.
yeah,
Um, I just kind of view myself as one of the backers, and I just keep backing it whenever I can, so to speak, like set money aside, and that's how I'm gonna get it done. Whoever wants to help can help, is the way I view it. Like, it's the health bar of the boss. Everybody can see the health bar, you know.
right.
You can work, you can help, or you can just watch the bar deplete, whatever you want.
I mean, I've
And
come quite close. We're what, down to like 30 hours on the campaign, and 32, and we're 85% of the way there. So it's very close.
it's pretty
Every
good.
pre-order of the book gets me like one percentage point higher. So with 15 pre-orders or fewer pre-orders that include extra goodies, like my other book, I have a fantasy fairy tale called The Search of SACHA.
Oh, yeah.
So if you bundle in some of those extra things, then that percentage, that bar goes up faster. So yeah, I hope that there's people out there that like to support independent artists and also are just interested in original fantasy science fiction art from one of their guys, somebody on their side.
Yeah. Like I said, we need more of that. One thing I was going to mention when we were on John's show is I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard of Robert Frost, but like I don't know how familiar you are with like his work or what he's done.
Let me see.
But
Sometimes I'm bad with names.
well, some of these he's a poet. Some of these
Oh,
poets, you can't just like you can't necessarily put out a thick novel, and like, what do you do with poems? But a good marriage between two concepts is poetry and art. You can fill up, you can have a page of art with a poem right there.
Yeah.
And then now it's two things at once you can write. And, you know, I don't know, I wanted to pitch that to you because, like, if you're already in the mindset of making books and writing a little bit, but you're mostly an artist, I was like, well, that kind of lends itself to poetry a little bit, I think.
And are you a poet? Are you writing poetry?
Um, I cut a lot of my teeth writing music, which is not. It's very. You could basically take poems, and then you could
Yeah,
just word for word put it in a song.
for
You
sure,
know,
of course, of
so.
course. So yeah, I mean, I'm down for anything. I'm always up for a cool collaboration.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
the only thing that I've found is that I think writing comes a little easier to writers than art comes to artists.
You
It's
got
a
to
lot more
visualize
work,
it.
a lot more hours put into
Hmm.
a painting than so that
Hmm.
that's where things get a little bit tough. But unless we kind of work that out, it can
Hmm.
be black and white, which will kind of alleviate some of that.
Hmm. Oh,
Or
I'm just saying, like, if you ever need like an idea for like, I need this feels like I need something more like I don't know, like if you ever want to like make the value seem even greater, you could
right,
always like because since you're a writer too is all I was thinking. I was like, you're a writer and an artist, you could probably do something like a
right.
poem.
No, it's like that's kind of the reason why once I completed the whole layout of the book,
Hmm.
I knew I had to populate some of the pages with some text, and
Yep. Yep.
even though it's not poems, some
Right.
of my thoughts come out kind of poetic in a poetic fashion. So there's I have that prose about me that I have to kind of try to what's the word? Kind of provide an aesthetic to the
Yep. 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 Set the scene for you're
right.
setting the table basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's like your book just kind of I instantly thought of Robert Frost. I don't know why. And I think it's because each page was like he wasn't trying to fill the pages out. It was
Mhm.
like
Right,
a
right,
lot
right.
of it was blank. The poem is like centered and they just jazzed it up, you know.
That's a good idea, actually. I used to write poetry as well when I was a very young man. Is that a dog? Is
Say
that your
again?
dog?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna
kind of
just
just
mute. You
it
can
just
keep talking.
um yeah, when I was in my like when I was like 18 or 19 and 20, around that time, I was writing poetry. But it's been many, many years since then. Oh, look at the little guy. How old is he?
He's almost 3. In March he'll be 3.
Is he your only one?
Yeah, we lost our first one unfortunately, but
I'm sorry to hear
he
that.
yeah, we couldn't have him without that happening though. So thankful for him every single day, and he's like a little miracle. So
That's tough. Yeah, well, God bless you. God bless him.
thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, and my wife's right behind me here. She'll be joining us here shortly.
Oh, great, great, great.
Yeah. But yeah, tell me more about what you were saying about like your writing and stuff.
So yeah, I haven't done it in a long time. I mean, I wrote. It's hard. I don't like to consider myself a writer because I've done it so sparingly over the years. In Search of Sacha, my fantasy fairy tale storybook, is the only time where I actually got serious about it, and I put. It's not a short story; it's a novella, so it's about 10,000 words. Um, I put it. I got serious about that, and I think we came up with a beautiful story there. Thanks a lot to my friend Alexander Helene, who's the author of the Swordbringer books, The Last Ancestor and the Second Sojourn, and what's the other one? The Final Home. He edited In Search of Sacha. He turned my crude uh, writing into a beautiful work of art. So, and I got him again. Actually, Alexander came back to edit my new book now. So it's it's good to have an actual writer on my team, on my side.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and editors they tend to do that. It's really nice just getting other eyes on it. I mean, this is why people have advanced copies for people just to get feedback, and sensitivity readers and all that.
Right.
So
Yeah, he
Work, come here.
he put a nice shine to the text there, so I'm grateful for that. But when I was very young, I used to like writing poetry, and I remember filling up books of poems, but none of that stuff exists anymore. I don't even know where they are, if I own them at all anymore.
well, you form those neural pathways.
They're in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Sometimes in my life, when I took breaks from music, I always thought like, well, maybe the fire like went out or something, and I can't like write the same way. And a lot of times what ends up happening is it's you just get back on that bike, and it's like, oh, I'm actually stronger than ever, and you just kind of, it's not even picking up where you left off. It's almost like just with the experience you have since the last time you did it, you're able to do things differently and more efficient in some ways, to be honest.
I know what you're saying. Because I do feel like that sometimes. I have paintings from 2008 and 2009 that I feel they gain more traction on some websites. Some of the art websites, they get more views, more likes, more attention, and I'm like, wait a minute, I knocked those paintings out in an hour or two when I was not trying, and somehow they managed to get more attention. What was I doing? What am I doing wrong? But then again, I can't think that that's gone or anything like that. It's just kind of been, I think, focused into a finer, more precise kind of form.
And a factor with that is luck. Sometimes you could post prime content and every single day, and there's just certain things that certain layers to the onion, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need a lucky draw. You could pull down things that don't get attention and repost it the next day, and suddenly it goes viral. It's just, I've literally seen that.
It kind of happened recently, actually, on Twitter here. One of our guys, what's his name? John Carter, he goes by. I'd never seen him before, but somebody shouted me out. John De La Rose was responding to one of his tweets. John Carter was looking for independent artists out there, and when I got that notification from John De La Rose, I'm like, oh, let me go type something up. And the guy liked my artwork so much that he ended up blasting it out. He blasted like 3 or 4 of my paintings. And in a matter of a few hours, I gained like 60 or 70 new followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you'll get that. Yeah, I know another kind of, not exactly the same, but similar. My buddy Tim McKay, he recently got suspended on Twitter, but that was like right at the height. The reason is because he was getting a lot of attention on his book because he was having a free sale that was going on. He did that Amazon free sale thing. And what he did is he paid to get it in like a popular newsletter. So he was smart and planned it all ahead and like did it at the same time. And essentially moved over 1,000 books. And essentially that got so many eyes on him that one of the haters just like reported him. And the way like Twitter's rules work is like when you report certain things, they don't ask questions because there's no time to mess around with that kind of stuff. They just take it down and then review it. So that's what happened to him. But yeah, that's kind of what your thing reminds me of with John De La Rose. Like maybe that. And that's kind of how it was with my music too, in a way. At one point, we paid a larger signed artist, a larger signed vocalist to be on one of our tracks. We paid him $1,000, and I mean, just to be able to go up to strangers and be like, "Hey, do you like this band with this person in it?" Well, we got him, or have you heard of this person when we got them? Or like, yeah, we got this song featuring that. We've worked with, like it's like social credit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
To be able to be affiliated with these people. But yeah, like crazy stuff. Like I said,
Who was that singer?
oh, Franz from Attila. He got canceled. I found that out when I came out of my internet coma.
Oh,
I came out of the coma. I was just like, what's
how
been
long
going
did
on?
you stay away from the internet?
Oh, I want to say from 2015 or 2016 until basically when I met my wife. So 5 or 6 years,
Oh wow,
roughly. Yeah.
that is a coma. That's like,
Yeah. I unplugged from everything, man. I was like, I don't care about any of this except for just talking with friends, in certain cases. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
yeah, no, but it's good to know. I mean, I think it's important sometimes to disconnect.
Hmm.
This stuff is driving us all mad.
But at the same time, it is like that is a choice that you make. Like it's a big shift. Like you're not. I don't know. A lot of people get their news from like the internet, for example, these days. Um, so if you're going to shy away from everything completely, that's a lot of communication,
Yeah,
just passively.
I get all my news from the internet, but I also get so many of my clientele from the internet. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd be able to make it without it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a way of getting it done. Obviously, it's happened in the past, but I would have to probably shift from doing the science fiction and fantasy stuff to more just family portraits and landscapes and stuff like that, which is actually something I've been considering a lot. I think I've been wanting to shift into more traditional mediums, oil and watercolors, and
Mhm.
into more of that sort of art that is more, what's the word, hangable in a house. Like
Mhm.
I don't feel like most people want to hang a dragon or something in the living room, on the living room
Well,
wall.
maybe I would.
I mean, yeah,
That's
some
me
of us
though.
would, but in general,
Yeah.
people want like a beautiful landscape or something with a beautiful aesthetic.
Hmm.
Beauty being the kind of the main theme, I think that
Yeah.
for a living room, for a living space. So
Right.
I've been thinking of going in that direction more. It doesn't have to be. It can still kind of have a fantasy element, but like I don't want to start sharing art, but I have things in mind. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I've been thinking a lot about shifting my focus, maybe not 100%, but at least 50%, so that I can still do what I'm doing, but also build up a portfolio for a different sort of client.
Yeah. I have thoughts on that, but real quick, Sammy says, "Hey guys,"
Hey,
and then he says, "If you illustrated a dragon, I'd hang it on my wall." See, I told you. I think a lot of people would.
I've done so many dragons. Let me see. I'll share. Can I share a screen?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
then
share the latest dragon I just painted.
amazing. I'm all for looking at dragon paintings. And he also says it's also a good idea to broaden your horizons on other things as well, which is good. Which leads me to my next point. I stayed with and I lived with an artist for a little bit. His son went to high school with me, and we were really good friends. Both of his sons actually. And yeah, that's kind of what he did. Is he did portraits for other families. He was very involved at the local church. Him and his wife basically taught the kids before, like leading up to church every week. So there was like an hour of school, like church school, just right immediately beforehand. And yeah, like all throughout his house was like paintings of his kids and stuff. And his entire family would commission him for self portraits, or not, well, like not self portraits, but you know what I mean, like portraits of the family and
And
stuff.
I do that sort of work. It's sparingly. It's when it comes,
Hmm.
I do it.
Hmm.
And actually, now that you mentioned that, I want to also start doing more paintings of my own family because my wife
Yeah.
sometimes she's like, "Why haven't you done?" She throws that in my face sometimes. And I don't have enough paintings of us in our own home. My walls are kind of barren. Can I share a screen here?
Yeah.
How do I do
If you
that?
just hit the present button and
All right,
then,
yeah, share screen. Okay.
mhm.
Uh, Okay, it's showing me everything I have open.
Yeah, and then you got to pick like the specific window.
Where is it? I don't see it.
You can also, well,
Okay, I found it. All right, here we go. There you go.
boom,
There you go.
nice.
This was done for, it was a commission actually, and the person that commissioned me, she's a person who reviews all of our books. You might know her, Katie Room, I think it's what her name is.
Yep.
So it's a commission for her.
Is she doing is it a cover or is it a
I think it's like a banner for a new website that she's putting together or something. I'm not exactly sure.
cool?
But yeah, it's a cool reading dragon.
Yeah, that's the way right there.
Simple but fun,
I'm all for dragons.
Yeah, dragons are
Always.
cool. All right, that's it. I don't know if you want to leave it up there, but
we could let it chill for a bit. It's your art, so it's relevant. So in your book, when I'm assuming you said it's a lot of your pieces throughout the years. Is it like a piece and then the story behind it? Is that kind of like what you did?
No, it's not entirely randomized because, like, let's say a piece is part of a series. I'll usually kind of put the series together. And there's even a flow. Some of the artwork, the text that's around the artwork, and again, only a handful of pages have text on them. But the text that's on the page with the artwork, usually there's some sort of relevance with the artwork and what I'm talking about. So, for example, one of the passages, and they're kind of like a little bit disconnected kind of passages, but they somehow still work together. But one of them, I'm talking about working with independent writers on book covers and stuff, and how I've made friends in this industry. And as I'm saying that, I'm showing some of the book covers from folks, that like I've done for was it Mike Tierney that we worked with?
I know you've worked with a few. I know you've worked with a few.
But I worked with you, right? Well, you were like the medium, the mediator. Was that you?
Mike.
I'm talking about Sir Sova.
That's what you're thinking. Yeah. Sir Sova's awesome.
They're awesome. Right. Yeah. So and what else? Yeah, and stuff. That's and basically so there's kind of like passages on all sorts of different themes, and then the artwork around it is usually kind of loosely related to what I'm talking about.
Heck yeah. And then every now and then, if you had some thoughts, like you mentioned, some of your own thoughts seep in there, right?
Right.
Just whenever you felt inspired, you just toss one in there when it's relevant, or
no, it was just I was just kind of like scrolling through the book just of art, and as I was going through it, whatever kind of popped into my head, if there was room on the page for text, I said, okay, you know what, it's the perfect spot where I could just unleash.
Well, that's awesome. I'm all for that.
And again, it's only in total about 5,000 words, so most people will be able to read that in 15 minutes if they were just reading the text.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to the there's a lot of power to the blending of words and art. Not just for obvious reasons, there's the whole industry of comics, obviously, and like memes and stuff. There's a reason memes are just like a really potent, simple form to convey ideas.
Yeah.
But you could just have like a single word with an image and almost tell a whole story in ways,
You know what? I wouldn't mind, I don't know, I wouldn't mind sharing a preview of the book.
Yeah, if you want. I don't care. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do that.
Oh, why don't you, actually, I have your link in the, go find that. I'm going to find your link for your project and throw that in the chat here. Yeah. For those listening, I have Lolo's link in the description. Go back his project.
All right, let's see. Where is it? But you know what? I think I have to turn it into a PDF, the latest version. Did I do that?
Well, I think you can click and drag it into your browser. It'll open a new window, and then you can share that window.
But I have to, because it's still all right. So this is the thing. Yeah, I gotta turn the InDesign. I have to export it as a PDF first, because the PDF that I have is a outdated version.
I
So I'm
get
gonna
it.
do that.
Oh man, I know. Yep, I know all this stuff.
I don't want to. Yeah. All right. So it's gonna get done right now.
I've been slowly going through like my band page, all of my band's page, and like my podcast page, and just trying to like do house cleaning on all this stuff and catch up on everything that I you know either was too lazy to do early on or lost track of over the years or whatever. And man, it is just the file grabbing, like kind of like what you're talking about. Like, this needs to be a PDF, and I gotta switch this to a JPEG and shrink it, and like this needs
Yeah,
to
I mean, that gets a little bit tedious. Okay, so let me see. Is this ready? Again, I don't want to spoil too much of the book, so I'll just share a few of the pages. But maybe I can read the first paragraph if you don't mind.
Oh, I would love that. Have at it.
Oh, okay, still waiting for the export to complete.
Okay. I got the project here for those watching. They can take a screenshot and grab it later. But yeah, I think you're onto something here. With this, because like I mentioned, memes and comics, it just makes sense. Who doesn't want a book of art?
Let me I have a few examples of books like this. Where is it? So here's, for example, I have like three or four Frank Frazetta books. Amazing.
Great choice.
Our book is not going to be as big. This is pretty big. I love it.
It's like a coffee table book, right?
Yes. There's a lot of text in here. It's really interesting stuff, but none of it is written by Frank Frazetta. I mean, I'm sure there's some quotes by him and stuff, but
is that kind of the inspiration then, right there? A little, or some of it?
Yeah. Well, artists put these books together all the time. This is another book I recently I backed I backed it like a year or two ago, and it only just now arrived in my mail.
Worth it. Look at that.
I wish I could do a hardcover for this campaign, but it was I couldn't. I did it for In Search of Sacha, which is beautiful, but this is a beautiful hardcover book that I backed, and again, it's a bunch of really nice art, but there's no text in it. There might be a few little bits of text that don't really say much of anything.
And that's why the square format too. Like it's a square book for that reason. Yeah. I like that.
So here he writes a little bit about himself in the very first pages, but I was bored. And I'm like, I don't want to bore anybody. I want people to look at the art, but when they're reading, feel like it's just as interesting to read. A lot of times that's what happens with these art books. I lose interest if I start reading it. I'm like, I'm a few sentences in, I'm like, I don't want to read anymore. And I didn't want my book to be that way. Obviously the main attraction is the art, but I want the text to be something that kind of keeps you going, keeps you reading.
Oh,
still exporting. It's a big file.
Well, either way.
It takes a while for it to export. It'll be ready soon. But that's some, artists, that's usually what they do is they make a book of all their artwork and they put it out with almost nothing. Actually, there's one other collection of, this is a beautiful book actually here.
Yeah, kiss with your mouth closed.
So yeah, for those listening, go back Lolo's project. He's got an amazing art book and other stuff going on. Oh,
This
look at that.
artist, what's his name? Even it's hard for me to pronounce it. Maybe you do better. Evan Mel Amundsen. It's like a, I don't know where he's from.
I think it's
Evan-
Evan for sure. Evan.
Yeah, Even. Evan
Yeah.
Mel Mehl
Mhm.
Amundsen. I think he's like Swedish or something. I forget.
Yeah.
Amundsen.
Amundsen.
Amundsen. Amundsen.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful artist, and he did a better job than most artists in that he put a bunch of his artwork, and then he kind of has like little backstories to all the characters and stories. Like he'll write like a little poetic story, little paragraph
Oh, that's cool.
of what's in there. It's really nice. So he
Yeah.
goes a little bit further than most artists.
I think more artists that we, more of the artists that we see around like the indie side of things should put out their own books like this. And I don't mean just comics. I mean, that's obviously a good idea too. Have you considered that, making a comic?
When I originally considered it, it transformed into a storybook. I don't know why. I kind of like I started with the comic book in mind, but I wasn't feeling it, and it morphed into a storybook because I enjoyed the prose of more of like a novella of a novel. The speech bubbles are cool, no, but I just enjoy kind of painting with words more, and that's where Search of Sacha was born.
You know what I've seen a rise of lately, and I
Search of
think I'm
Sacha.
gonna do it myself. Oh, let me see that.
This is my first and only
Oh, that's sick.
storybook, and I'll flip a few pages up so you can see what that looks like.
Here, yeah, I'll make you full screen here too.
So this is a book, the cover.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. Good landscapes in there. Yeah. Nice, classy lettering.
Yeah, it's a little fancy lettering, but I thought if it worked perfectly with the whimsical kind of fairy tale story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got action and it has drama and it's got a lot of great reviews. So I'm happy about that. All right, I can finally share the screen and give a little preview of my book.
Yeah, that that format. What I've seen a rise lately of people who are writing like novels or novellas or what have you, and you could do like one image per chapter, right? There's chapter heads, right? For example, here, imagine this is a new chapter, right? This image here, but yeah, and that could like depict something really dramatic that happened in the previous chapter. So like you read through everything, nothing's spoiled, and then you flip the page and then there's the scene and then the next chapter or whatever. I think that's going to become a big deal because a comic can cost upwards of $30,000 if you're adapting like a full novel, and it's gonna run you like a minimum of like 7 to 10,000 and this is from a writer's perspective. Like an artist can just do it. It's, which is cool and why I suggest it. But from a writer's perspective, yeah, it almost does just make sense to like, as you're writing the book, commission a bunch of pieces from all the artists and just do like one per chapter. It really weighs down the metadata, and Amazon charges you for that, so it like counts as a much thicker book, if that makes sense. They'll charge you for that, but I think it's worth it for the hybridization. Like, I think it'll allure comic lovers into the prose side of things and kind of get book only people to maybe consider comics and other avenues, like.
That's a great idea. It's true.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an investment, but I
And
think
it's always, I mean, it's always existed. Like there's a bunch of books that my kids read that have like a header, but it's usually like a black and white drawing, something that's kind of simplified. But there's no reason why it can't be one color page at the end of each chapter or something like that.
exactly like yeah. Chapter ends, you flip the
My
page, and like on the back of the page is a splash page, and
Right.
you look over to the other page, and it's like the next chapter or whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking in my mind.
I
Or
have
even
that. I have that Orthodox Bible that's very popular, and it has beautiful icons, and it's all, you know, the Bibles have these very thin paper, but then you always, you know, you come onto the nice thick colored print right inside of, you know, so it can be done in any book, you know.
oh yeah.
So I'd like to preview of the first few pages of my book here, of what is going to be in print soon.
Let's check it out.
Lolo's art book.
I like that lion.
Yeah, it's a lion character that I did for a client, a writer, a long time ago, and I don't think the project never came to fruition. So there's actually I put a bunch of his artwork in here, even though the book never came to be.
Well, the character lives on.
He lives on. He's in here.
Yeah,
So this is where I start,
that's cool. That's cool.
and I'll read a little bit here. Hopefully, I don't sound too dorky.
The two on the right look like real photos.
Yeah, the style of this project was a little bit realistic with something of a cartoony, like brightly colored cartoony aspect to it, while it kind of maintained a realistic look. Yeah, because it was supposed to be for like a TV show or a movie, so I wanted to kind of,
Yeah.
but I wanted to, you know, add some kind of like a colorful, vibrant motif to so that for the cinematography to use that somehow.
Oh yeah.
All
Pull
right,
it off.
so I'm going to read a little bit here just so you can see more or less the kind of stuff I'm putting into the book.
Oh yeah.
It says here, this is the first paragraph of the book, of course. Not many things in this world are more captivating than a good story. I think we can all become enthralled by a story with an interesting character who has an interesting look about him and deals with interesting circumstances. And while I prefer happy endings, challenges and sacrifices must be met before we get there. These are the thoughts I have when approaching a blank canvas. While I'm not always depicting something with high tension, I nevertheless consider this aspect of storytelling when I conceptualize a piece. In this way, I am as much a storyteller as I am a designer, weaving a narrative through the careful arrangement of color, line, and form, inviting the viewer to step into the world I have created and become a part of the story themselves. And then I kind of go on. Again, this is still part of the same project.
Dang man, yeah, that looks like a real knocked
These
it out
are
of the
double
park
page
here.
spreads, by the way. So obviously this would be where the book gutter, the gutter of the book would be right across the middle there. And here too.
Oh yeah.
I'll read a little bit more here. And you'll see that it kind of, the text kind of matches the vibe of the painting.
No, I love that world building there with the canary riders. That's what it looks
cool,
like.
right? I love it.
Canary riders. Yeah.
I thought of them as like postal workers.
Yep.
In the realm of painting, the artist wields a power akin to that of a deity, capable of breathing life into a blank canvas and conjuring entire worlds through the manipulation of color and light. Much as a writer weaves tapestry of words to create a story. With each carefully considered brushstroke, the painter crafts an intricate narrative of hues, saturating the surface with vibrant reds, soothing blues, and lush greens, all working in harmony to evoke a specific mood or atmosphere, mirroring the way a storyteller uses language to elicit emotions and set the tone of a tale. As the artist deftly applies form to the design, the once empty space begins to ripple with the breath of creation, giving rise to myriad characters and creatures that inhabit the newly formed world. These subjects serve as vessels for focal points of narrative, much like the protagonist and antagonist that drive the plot of a story. Each character Each unique feature and expression invites the viewer to ponder their role within the greater work, sparking their imagination and drawing them deeper into the story being told. Through the strategic placement of highlights and shadows, the artist sculpts the very essence of light, imbuing the peace and depth and dimension akin to how a writer uses sensory details and vivid imagery to transport readers into the world of their story. Each figure, whether human or fantastical, is imbued with a distinct personality and purpose, their forms rendered to convey a sense of movement, emotion, and intention, just as characters in the story are brought to life through their actions, thoughts, and dialogue. All right, I don't want to bore anybody too much, but you get the idea.
You're good.
I'm trying to show how a painter and a writer are not that different, at least in this regard, in the kind of a narrative landscape of storytelling through art, So that was the whole first entry in the book is all about kind of showing the parallels there. And then it goes on to other kind of subjects. I talk about other things.
Oh, heck yeah, man. That's
I'll
amazing.
show a few more pages just so you could get a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with more beautiful art, man.
I don't want to stay on it. I don't want to linger on it too long. So
oh, that's amazing. Yeah. That's cool stuff. Those eyes. Yeah. These are covers.
Yeah, these are all book covers for a lot of the guys in our scene, our side.
Heck yeah. Oh, I know that one. That's how that slug one is how I got to know how I found out about you from Paladin.
Sorry, Rob.
And obviously that one there too.
That one's the cover.
Yep.
And again, there's things in here that date back all the way to 2009 and 2008. 2009 might be the earliest one, or 2008. But in Search of Sacha, my book, I started writing in 2006. So I actually have a couple of the sketches from that time in here. So you get an idea of the amount of text. It's not that much text compared to pictures. All right, I'm gonna exit the book.
Okay. So it's like the text pops up every now and then.
Yeah. I haven't counted like how many pages there are with text on them, but it's probably like out of the 100 pages, there's probably like 10 pages with text on them, something like that. It's not a lot.
Can you go back down? I want to see one specific one.
Oh, he pulled it away.
I don't mind. I can open it again if she wants to see it. I didn't even notice she jumped on there.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. She just kind of snuck on like a ninja.
I did. My son I was trying to deal with something really fast. I didn't get a chance to do some research for the episode we're gonna do next on our double feature, which is regarding my intractable pain. So I'm just gonna have to wing it. But our son came over and took the headphones and he was trying to put them on my head. Yeah. It was really cute.
He's like, "Mom," and he started babbling too. He's like, like he was like trying to show her how to do the. You got to go podcast now, Mom.
That's funny. All right, so I have it back up if you want to share it.
Yeah. Sorry.
It drives me crazy that you always look like you're shorter than me because you're so hunched over. Yeah, so sit up straight.
I do. It's crazy. I do have the same posture as Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Oh no, that's not a good posture.
Yeah.
So I believe they were on like a family on the bridge or something like that.
Okay, so that's from In Search of Sacha, my storybook. So it's not from within the pages, but I made a bunch of paintings promoting the characters and the world. So that's what that's from. I'll find it.
Oh, okay. There's a delay here. Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be.
I was just looking on our TV because it's bigger. Wait, go back up quick. Stop.
This is the whole. There's a whole section of the book that is dedicated to In Search of Sacha, my fantasy fairy tale storybook, and this is where it starts. So again, these images, some of these images are not in the book. They're just of the book, of the characters.
If you go back up on the page.
That one?
There was one that looked like my best friend Sierra. I don't know. It was like a brunette woman. Right there.
Okay.
That's Sierra. Oh, it is.
I mean, at a
Kind of.
glance, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's cool. You got to show it to Sierra then.
I will take a picture of it right now. Well, I'll show her the video.
Yeah, we can screenshot it later. Show her whatever. So yeah, man, this is amazing work.
So these pages here that you see here, these are all images that are in the book.
I love that.
Everything before that was just promotional stuff that I did.
I love all of it, but with the water there and the boat, can you not?
Let me show. I'm going to find it in the actual book so you can see what it looks like in the book.
I'm going to be looking on this TV, even though, yeah, that water one's sick.
So in the book, it has some text over it, you see?
Yep. It's nice. Yep. Little details. It's almost like walking through a museum at these portions of the book.
That creature is awesome with the staff.
Yeah. It's cool.
That's Marcor. Yeah, you know, I'm very happy with In Search of SACHA because it was a little scary to just, you know, publish my first book and not really be a writer. But I'm happy to say that people enjoyed the story just as much as they enjoyed the art. There's a lot of really positive reviews.
Aww, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was very
I'm enjoying this art. I'm sure I'd enjoy the story too. Everything indie, when people take it seriously, has, I mean, it's just, it doesn't even compare to what we see in the mainstream. So we get used to picking our favorites of mainstream garbage, you know, and then like everything we read is just like pure gold compared. So not even worried about that.
Yeah, sometimes I look at the reviews that people write for In Search of SACHA, and it kind of it just gives me chills. Like, oh man, that's great. They really feel like how I felt when I was writing it. You know, like they really got it. And it's great. It's really beautiful. Yeah. All right, let me see. I can share a little bit more, I guess. Yeah, there's
don't feel obligated to if you don't want to.
I mean, a lot of these images have been put out. Like, it's not like I've been hiding these images. The idea of the book is that it's all being brought together into one product. That's really what makes it special.
Now, after the fact, will there be an option for me to pick this up later when I have
yes
money? Okay,
that's
cool.
So thankfully, even though I'm not
on your footstool,
let me see, where are we at? Still 85% of the way there. Nothing's changed. But I was I got another backer. Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing good. It's at 87% now. 86%. So even though I'm not
Hold on. Alexander Charles, stop.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's being bad.
Alexander Charles.
Literally, he has an obsession with kicking the fuck out of my back.
That's same we call it the initials.
Yeah.
And if I move, he will move to kick my back. It's like I have a busted disc, like a deflated disc too, so it's not cool.
Oh no, that's
he goes full on monkey mode, and he'll climb on me and like he's swinging from a tree.
Right now it's disgusting. He's laying on his back with his tablet like above him playing games and just like with his legs up just kicking me.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
She's a footstool, yeah.
Fucking monster, man.
Yeah.
So I've been able to crunch some numbers and I came to realize that even though I'm not at my goal, and this is because of the folks that ended up pre-ordering the perks with extra goodies in it, like the prints and Search of SACHA and other things. Because of those orders, it's got me over the threshold where there's enough of a profit margin where I can actually fulfill all the orders and get some extra copies of the book for future sales.
Awesome.
So as it is right now, there's about 49 books that are pre-ordered.
Nice.
But I'll probably be able to pre-order like 80 or 90 books. Sorry, I'll be able to print 80 or 90 books to
Wonderful.
hold on to some of them for future sales, as it is right
Amazing.
now, and still come away with
one
a
for
little
us.
bit of a profit. You know?
Yeah, from there, like if it's anything like when I was playing music, well, I still play music, but like when I was touring and stuff, if it's anything like that, then yeah, you just need enough to place another order, and then all the extra is whatever. All the extra is profit, you know.
Right. The 4K number I came up with, thinking that, okay, not as many people a lot of people are gonna probably order the book, but not the extra goodies.
Yeah.
So I kind of like worked out like, okay, how would this be feasible? Like, what's the how much do I have to make so it can be worth it? Because printing is expensive.
Yeah, and it's so complicated to, there's so many variables, like the printing and the shipping and the just everything. It's wild.
Like,
and of course,
in search of SACHA, it was a huge success in the crowdfunding side of things. I had a goal of $10,000, and we made $15,000.
Awesome!
But
that's so great.
My thing is that because I was very inexperienced in self-publishing and selling books, I ended up ordering too many copies of the book. So it was worth it in a way, because the minimum amount of books that I could have ordered from this place that I used was 250 copies. I should have done that maybe, because I had 210 copies that I had to ship. I would have been able to stay with about 40 or 50 copies for future sales.
Yeah.
But then each book would have costed like $22 or something, $23 to print.
And
I opted to print 500 copies. So that way I can ship out the 210 copies and keep 300 copies. And that way the books costed me about $15 or $14 to print instead. I'm like, great, these books are going to sell like hotcakes. I don't have a problem with it. But I've been holding on to like hundreds of books for the last 4 years without being able to sell them. Awesome. I've sold a good chunk of them, but it's like trickle sales over the years. It's been 4 or 5 years since that campaign ended, and I still have about 160 copies of the book left from those 300 extra books.
Alexander, stop.
Yeah.
So I've only been able to sell about not even half of them, because I ended up giving a bunch of them away as Christmas gifts, and I gave some of them to reviewers who never reviewed it. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
So is this one so I'm just jumping on, so I apologize if you've already gone over this, but is this one a sequel, or is it in the same world, or does it relate to the other one at all?
No, it's not a storybook at all. It's just a collection of what I consider my best pieces the last 20 years of my work. I've been working as an independent artist for 20 years now, so I'm kind of celebrating the 20-year career with this book.
That makes sense why some were different styles then, but you never know.
It's a lot of different things going on in this book. Like there's that.
Right, yeah. So I was like, I mean, it could just be whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not one to judge if you want to switch it up in a book, or
I was going to say that okay, so two things. You said you had a goal of 10K and you made 15 on SACHA?
In search of SACHA, right?
So
that one too.
You can you can quote unquote put that on your resume, so to speak. Like you can walk into any place, like, I don't know, throw on a suit or like your church clothes or whatever, like make yourself look real nice and sharp. You can walk into that place with a single copy of that thing and just start dropping stats like that, because it's proof of demand. So with that kind of thing, you can bring like 100 copies, 50 copies, 10 copies, whatever, into like a LGS or like a comic book shop or something, and you can start telling them this stuff and just be like, hey, I'll even lower my profit margin, just buy these for like, give me $1 or $2 per book, just so I can move them, and times 50 or 100, right, for however many they pick up. And then now the books have a home where they're going to be tried to be sold. Another thing you can do, toss them all in a backpack and go to a convention.
Yeah, I've done that. I haven't done it in a while, but the thing is that in order for it to be worth, like, the books, I'm selling them for, well, I've lowered the price from 35 to 30 on the book, because again, it's not just, it's a hardcover book. It's like super premium product with all the little shiny things, silver foil stamping there and all that. So I've been hoping to make a soft cover version that I can sell at a more of a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of one of the things that makes it hard for this book to move, is that people really like it when they see it, but when they hear, oh, again, I lowered it to 30, but still, I think people feel a lot more comfortable with spending 20 or less on a book.
Well, and there's no rush, because you have the books. Sitting on them is no big deal. You can keep them until you're an old man. It doesn't matter. Like, they can sell whenever. It's not like it's food that's going to expire or something.
Right.
So
they're safe in a nice box, packaged with bubble wrap and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But we're winding up on that hour mark here. If
yes.
You guys have
I already told him that since we were starting late, that if it went over, it's not a big deal, and I'm in touch with our other guests too, so we don't have to kick you off either, though. I don't want to make you feel like you didn't get enough time.
I don't mind.
I know that your campaign for this ends in a few days, but if you ever have another project or want to come back on just to chill, talk, get to know each other more, talk about conspiracies, crazy shit, whatever, anything, you're always welcome back on the show. So
yeah, thank you. No, it's been fun. The campaign has 30 hours, so it's still gonna be one full day, I think, before. So I think we'll see it jump up a few more percentage points, I hope.
I'll share.
I'm always down to talk about whatever. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and these things inspire and motivate us, right, to work. So it's relevant.
Oh yeah, and I will also be sure to share again on X and everywhere. So hopefully we get you there.
Yeah. All right.
It was really nice to meet you. Did Andy ask you the normal questions I usually ask people?
I didn't.
Are you married? Do you have kids? Any of that stuff?
Yes, I'm married for 17 years now.
Oh, wonderful.
We have four children.
Awesome.
And they're very spaced out as far as age goes. So our oldest is 17. So he was born when we were married. So we did the what do you call it?
Wedding?
Naughty, the drunken. He was 3 months old in our wedding.
Oh,
that's adorable.
What a
put a little suit on him.
He was chunky with a little suit on. Then our second, he's 10. And so I'll tell you a little bit about each one also. My 17-year-old, he has an amazing gift that I discovered when he was only 2 years old. He has a photographic memory.
Ooh. Amazing.
It's amazing. He was only 2 years old, and I remember him digging into my wallet, and this is back before all the smartphones. So I remember him finding like a little phone book that I had there, and I'm like, no, that's my stuff. What are you doing? And then right when I took it all back, he just started mouthing off a phone number, and I kind of recognized it. It belonged to somebody I knew. I forget. I'm like, wait a minute, how did that happen? And I put it together. He was in my wallet, and so I went to the phone book and I read off a name, and he told me the phone number. And I said, no, this can't be happening. I read another name. He told me the phone number. And then I read off like 10 names, and he told me the phone numbers to all those 10 names.
That's fascinating.
He was 2.
Wow.
And since then, I've noticed that he has this amazing gift of just recalling all sorts of information. And so,
okay, we don't need to know about your other kids. He's my favorite. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, well done. And there's so many stories because of that gift that
awesome.
helped us throughout, as me and his mom. But another gift that spawned on him, the same kid, we just noticed it all of a sudden when he was about 8 or something, or 9. I forget when exactly. But he's a speed reader. He
Oh,
can
yeah.
read, because I would always notice, like, when we were reading together, like, he was flipping the page too soon. I'm like, come on, wait, what are you doing? You can't be done that soon. That's ridiculous. And he's like, yes, of course I am. Well, only
Maybe
about a
that's
year,
what Booba's
only
doing
about
that for.
only about a year or two ago did we decide to like test his speed. And we ended up kind of learning a lot about speed reading. So the average person in the United States can read at about 200 words per minute. And I tested myself, and I was at like 220. So my sister tested herself. She's a pediatrician. She's around the same, like 230 words per minute. My son can read at 1,800 words per minute.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, that's
So he just flies through these fat books in an hour, in a couple hours. He'll read a big book like in 2 hours. It's ridiculous. So he that's his gift: the photographic memory and the speed reading.
You have me wondering if our son has that, not even joking, because he'll look at something and like flip the book immediately, or the book page. He's almost 3. And because I've watched him on his tablet games, he'll immediately like just do the puzzle pieces. Like he doesn't even think about it. So now I'm like, but that's so rare.
We homeschool. It's
Oh,
not
we're
as
going
rare
to.
as you think.
100%.
It's not as rare as you think. When you homeschool,
no.
you kind of have this environment for them that is like very. We don't really do any screens at home.
Yeah.
Like my kids, my 17-year-old doesn't have a phone. You know, sometimes other kids think it's weird that he don't have a phone, or maybe, but I say until you have your own license and a car to drive, there's no reason. I never had a phone when I was 17.
So I just want to say something.
I got a beeper when I was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
So I just want to say the only reason he's doing games on his tablet is because almost everything we own is in storage right now, and he has like a box full of toys, and so like I don't think he has any
I'm not against it. I just think it needs to be
I know you're not
limited.
judging, but I'm just saying we definitely limit it more.
I don't think it's a problem, because there's other skills that they can attain with the tablets.
Yeah.
But you limit it. You don't let it go past 30 minutes. That's already too much.
And he's only on games.
It should be like if it's gonna be more than once a day, it should be like hours and hours apart.
Yeah.
Because you want them to be able to grow their attention span. Like most kids don't have that, you know. Our kids, we kind of like, my wife is really my wife. She's a stickler, you know. I'm a little bit looser with the rules, with these things, but my wife is like, no TVs, no screens, no anything.
Yeah, Andy's looser with the rules.
Yeah, that's a dad thing.
Yeah.
No, not in there. Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the problem with the TVs is that when I want to watch something with my kids, this is great. This is going to be a wholesome story. It's going to be cool. And then a kissy scene pops up, and I'm like, oh no. And of course, my wife always happens to walk in when there's this, this intimate scene, and I'm like, no, that's not what the movie's about. But she always walks in when that's happening. Anyway, my second son, his gift that again we noticed very early on is music. He has a perfect pitch. He can hear any song and like find the melody in a piano, and now he's taken to the guitar, so he's playing on the guitar. So piano, guitar, and now he got the electric guitar for him.
You guys are just breeding geniuses.
Yeah.
But I think I tell you, I don't think it's that they're geniuses. I think it's that we're trying this traditional method of like no screen time almost ever. We have a little bits of screen time when it's like a reward, and even then it's like no more than an hour or 2 max when we were watching a movie, which is once a week or something like that.
Because then you get the like kind of the best of both. Like you get the advantages of like he gets the screen time game where he's solving a crazy puzzle that's only possible in this day and age for a kid to do at his age. But then you take it away so they maintain the attention span. And I think this is what people say about like CoComelon. I think the average amount of time that CoComelon lingers on a single shot is between 1 and 2 seconds. So you can just toss on any random Coco Melon episode and count. You can count to 2, and it will have switched to a different camera angle or whatever.
Yeah, they're like just driving your kids like crazy.
Yeah,
So my second born, again, he doesn't have the kind of same. He's very different from my first, but somehow he also can speed read. Not to the same degree, but faster than me. Like he I think we tested him and he was like a 600 or 700 words per minute. So still like 3 times greater than the average.
Yeah.
And again, he's way different than the first kid, because the first son, he's like analytical. He wants to be an analyst, like a sports analyst and commentator on sports. My second one is more of an artistic musician guy, but he still can speed read. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they're just speed reading. I just think that we're the at least I am the result of a public school system, and he's not. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 are 3 and 2 years old. So we got the 17-year-old, the 10-year-old, and then 7 years later, 3-year-old and the 2-year-old. And the first 3 are all boys, and only the last little baby is a girl. So we got
finally got your girl.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll share a picture here.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll say right off the bat, if they're like really good at speed reading in general, then classical music might be a good music theory in general, because then in theory they can play as they're reading the music,
right. And you know, so my sister acknowledged this gift of music that my son has, and she paid for some piano lessons, and the piano teacher discovered that he has perfect pitch, so he can play any key on the piano, and my son will know what note it is.
Oh yeah.
And then he can so there's some pros and cons to that perfect pitch, but it's pretty interesting still.
It is.
So that's them. There's Lunam, Sacha, Leon, and Swan. The little girl is in the middle.
Swan.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. I love
creative.
birds too. So.
Being a fantasy writer means that I somehow can't see myself giving my kids traditional names. I love traditional names, but for my kids, they need to be all like fantasy characters. So,
well, we could not figure out what to name our first son, and we finally settled on Olan, Olan, and so then when we were expecting again, before we knew, I mean, I just knew I didn't know the first time. I had no idea if we would have a boy or girl, but I knew the second time that we would have a boy, because Andy wrote me a Mother's Day card saying our son couldn't wait to come back to us. And then we found out we were pregnant on our first son that we lost on his original due date. So I just knew it. But just in case, I was thinking about girl names too, because I don't know, you never know. Yeah. But it's like, how are we going to find another name when it took us so long and we can't reuse, you know? So I'm just like, I don't know what we're going to do. But then I was thinking of girl names, and I thought about Alexandra or Alexandria, which I like. And then I was like, oh, what about Alexander? And he's like, yeah. And it was just like so easy, you know? But I don't know. I like the non-traditional names, especially like you picked really good ones, you know? It's not something ridiculous like armchair or fucking ZAY bed, you know.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my second, the musician,
is an armchair.
His name is SACHA. So he was named after the character in the book. So this came first, and I liked it so much that I named him SACHA.
That's great.
I did the same thing with my free series Spirit Animals. The protagonist's name is Zan.
Both like, a Z instead of the X,
Instead of X at Z, yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it easy with your wife? Were you guys pretty like in agreement?
She was always. I'm very happy with her, because she was always kind of just fine with my selection of names at least for the first 2. For the second 2. She was more involved in the process there. In the first one, it was kind of just me like doing my thing, you know, like my creative thing.
Yeah.
But, it's an interesting little story there. all my kids have something like an animal kind of a theme to their name.
Oh, I
So
love that.
Oh.
Love that.
Lunam, his middle name is Aquila, which
Oh.
some people might pronounce as Aquila, but it's Aquila.
Yeah.
It's eagle in Latin. So
I like
Lunam
it.
Aquila.
Beautiful.
Sacha is Sacha Puma.
Nice.
Yeah, we all know Puma.
So Leon is Leon Fiel, which is faithful lion in Spanish. And then Swan is Swan Alethea.
Strong warrior boys, but then
Yeah.
like graceful girl. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that's my kids.
I love your little family. Not
They're beautiful.
so little, but good sized family.
We gotta, that's our blessing from God is to multiply, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we gotta build the kingdom one baby at a time.
Amen.
Aww.
Amen. Well,
should be backstage.
Should we end it on that then?
That's good.
Is he backstage? Our other guest?
I gotta go into the other studio and see.
Oh, I thought it was the same one.
Well, I sent it to him.
Okay.
So thanks for coming on, Lolo. If you got any final thoughts, otherwise let everybody know where they can find you.
Final thoughts. 30 hours to my campaign, Lolo's art book on Indiegogo. Pre-order the book and receive a beautiful copy of a collection of my works that I put together. In essence, I dedicate my craft to God, and I pray that Christ is glorified in every one of my paintings. Yeah, and you can find me on social media on Twitter X. At Lolo's Art. On Instagram, I'm same Lolo's Art, and on Facebook. I'm not very active, but I'll respond. And my website is lolosart.com. So you can always write me if you're looking for an artist, commission artist for a book cover or whatever, or for a beautiful portrait painting of your mother. I'm your guy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look at that. I'm glad you showed that you have a huge range too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything, and you'll see that in my book. You'll see some of the fantasy. Of course, a lot of it. The bulk of it is fantasy.
Changing the baby.
The bulk of my work is fantasy and science fiction, but there's some portraits and other more classical kind of things in there as well.
Andy, it's fine. He's not in the camera.
Okay, there we go.
All right, guys. Andy, and what's her name again?
Katie.
Yeah,
Katie.
I'm Katie.
It was very nice talking to you guys, and thank you for having me. And,
yeah, just do that.
Yeah, and she's Moonzilla Tarot on X for those, and I'm A_C_Pritchard or just AC Pritchard basically everywhere. My band has been kind of blowing up lately. We've seen over 7,000% growth since we registered as human. There's all these new back channels that we discovered, and basically since we switched all that on, it's just been like a nuclear bomb going off. But yeah, you can find my band, Empty My Lungs, on all platforms. Go give us a sub on YouTube, dear listener out there. Help us get to 500 and then 1,000, so that we can be monetized on there.
Don't forget to stay for our second show. It's a double feature this week.
Yep, and for anybody else there, hop into the next show.
Making up for missed weeks.
Yeah. This year's going to be a big one. But yeah, thanks again, Lolo.
Nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and
beautiful family. Good luck. Or, I meant to say congratulations. Oh my gosh. Good luck with them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good fortune.
Thank you.
Until next time, everybody. Cheers.
Good night.
With in his hands, succession, destiny calls. In the twilight he stands.
Hear the horn sound so clear. Hear its war cry, no regrets. Every fight brings destiny nearer. A saga of sunsets. Saga of sunsets.
Battlefields of frost and flame, in his impoverished fire and pain. On his path the legends claim the echoes of his name.